This is my state, this is my team. You know what that means. This is for the black and blue that I bleed. This is for the chance to bring home that ring. But everybody gonna doubt this. So far there ain't been another way around it. We bring heat to the game each week. They just say we ain't got what it takes, we ain't bout it. Well, y'all can just keep saying that we ain't gonna make it, but at the end of the day, this will be the Panthers nation. You know, this ain't a game to us major players at every angle that you can think of. That's why you hate us. Get out the way of greatness. You can look at our faces and see the blood, sweat, and tears that it took to create this. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but you can save it. Cause even on the darkest of days, you know we're always gonna find a way to tell them what we gonna do, we gotta
What up, guys? Stand by for just a second. Then we'll get started here. As soon as I get the Zoom chat in the Facebook. Okay. Okay. Sure. All right. Boom. Make sure this is pinned. All right. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're getting things moving after that big win against the Cards. But first, if you like the video, if you like the channel, if you like the stream, hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that sub button, hit that bell, select all, leave a comment down below. If you feel like doing so, check out the Facebook page, Keep Pounding in all caps, for in-game posts, polls, opinions, and NFL news reactions. Plus, check out my boy Underdog Sports. His name is Kenny. Go check out his page on Facebook. All right. We got him in chat right now. What's going on, man? I just got a message from him on the YouTube chat. What's up, man? Can't see you on the YouTube, brother. Can you see me now? Are we good now? Because I just turned my cam on. Like just a minute ago. Alright. Let me see if I can get everybody shouted out here. What's up, Kyle? What's up, Anthony? What's up, Rondia? Let's see. This chat is flaky. I'm sorry, y'all. It's always been like that. What's up, Carson? How you doing, man? All right. Okay, we are good. We got face cam on YouTube. Good, good, good. All right. So, today, we are going to be talking about, can we make the playoffs, first of all. Secondly, is it possible for us to actually win games in the playoffs once we get there? If we get there. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a couple other things too. Most especially Cam Newton coming back to Carolina and making a massive impression. We're going to start with that. I don't know if you guys have been watching YouTube, but there are numerous news stations covering Cam Newton's return. And, I mean, it was just incredible to watch. If you know, it really did feel like 2015 when the man got drafted. That's what it felt like to me. I don't know about y'all, but I've felt the love from these news people for the first time since before the Super Bowl for this team with Cam Newton. I'm sitting there like, hold up. Let's test that theory, man. You know, let's check that schedule. Let's see what we're doing with, man. Because if we could play like we did last week, if we could put up, 34 points like we did last week, and play that top 10 defense like we've been playing, shoo! I see an opportunity, guys. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a rough ride. I got to tell you that. We got to win the games that are circled, man. But if we can win them and we can take care of business, then it's going to be up to one or two teams to determine whether we get that wild card spot or not. You know, there were a couple of people talking about we had a shot at the division lead last stream. But honestly, if you look at the history of us versus Tom Brady and how he's played and how he's figured out our defenses, I think we split with the Bucks, even just playing at our top level, which is fine. You know, we're still sitting at the number 6 seed by that point if we take care of business everywhere else. And we get this win against the Dolphins in Washington coming up. Then I see no reason why we can't put ourselves in a position where we're fighting for that number 6 seed. You know, I see no reason why this can't happen. Now, the game we're circling is that Miami game. And here's why. If you run the playoff simulations, if we lose even one game out of the ones that we're supposed to win, we're out. Guys, this is not a joke, all right? If we're going in all the way 110% if we want this playoff spot. If we don't want it, show it this week in tank. But if we do want it, I want to see a 30-point win again against Washington. I want to see it because now I know we're capable of it because we just absolutely threw a wrench into the Arizona Cardinals' plans of winning the division. We absolutely threw a wrench in it. So if we could do that last week with Cam Newton, and he's getting the majority of the snaps I've heard throughout the week, so that's a very good thing. I don't know that we should put him completely 100% of the snaps yet and make him a starter, but majority of the snaps works. I think we stick with the same plan we had last week because we caught Arizona completely off guard. They were not expecting that at all. And we managed 30-something points, man. You know? And that's not a fluke. I refuse to believe that's a fluke. This offense was completely in sync every level ever of it, except for Dennis Daly. But we're not going to get into that. We're here for the positives this week. I already threw him under the bus last week, so you know what? We focus on the positives. Yes, Pamela, we need to play another 4 great quarters. Exactly. That's what it comes down to. That's what I need to see every game from this team, win or lose, going forward if we want a shot at that playoffs. I want that same energy from last week every single week. I know it's going to be hard to get that. I know we're not going to play mistake-free ball, but as long as we bring that same energy, man, that's what's going to carry us. I got a feeling, man. I got a great feeling about that. And I know we're going to come into this game a little bit short-sighted and a little bit like, well, we got up for that Cardinals game, but now we're going to have trouble with this game. Nah, bro. Keep that same energy. Don't let it die. You got to come in there every single game from here on every game that we need to win, playing like that. Otherwise, we're sunk. Especially against the Dolphins. Man, I'm going to tell you something. That Dolphins defense is no joke. That Washington defense that we're about to play this week is no joke. We got to play that same level of ball if we even want 24 points this week. Our defense is going to keep us in a lot of games. We just need the offense to score 20. Exactly, man. And we were already scoring 20 before the Eagles game, which turned into a disaster. Which, to be honest, wasn't 100% Sam Darnold's fault. You know, it was a collective fault of the whole offense. So, you know, in my mind, Cam Newton is just going to come up there and audible everything that Joe Brady calls. Let's be real about that. That's going to be number one thing you're going to see. Number two, you will have to see this offensive line step up. You will have to see it step up. Otherwise, we're in trouble. Okay. And number three thing that you're going to have to see is we got to play at the same level we were playing this week in order to keep that road going. It's not going to be easy. And I'm going to run the playoff simulation for y'all later on. I'm going to show y'all exactly what we're dealing with. Because once we play those Bucks the first time and somehow get that victory, you know, in our stadium, I think once we get that victory, we're going to have to be on guard on defense because Tom Brady has a tendency to pick apart our defense and find all those little nuanced issues that you never thought you had. And that's why it's going to look like a top 10 defense, but not a top 5. Do y'all understand what I'm saying there? Because, look, man. Hey, this team can do it. This team can do it. But we got to step it up. We got to keep pushing. The second we let off that gas is the second these teams start to take advantage of us and start to run over our offense again, just like they were before. But Cam Newton is not going to let that happen. As long as that man is on the field, he is not going to let that happen. And that chemistry is something that is irreplaceable. It is undeniable. And it is unfathomable to the people that think, oh, this team's dead. Sports Illustrated said, we rose from the dead, guys. We rose from the dead. Those were their exact words. I don't know about y'all, but I'm straight up like, really? We rose from the dead? We became zombies last week? Come on, Sports Illustrated. Show us some love, man. I mean, how many times are you going to see Cam Newton drive us into a 34-point victory? You know, 34 points on the board. We ain't felt energy like that since the early days of Cam Newton. I'm gonna be real with you. I haven't been that hyped since probably the Super Bowl year. And I know y'all feel the same way. I don't really think that this team was dead necessarily. But the season, probably. Probably at that point before Cam came along. But the whole team, nah. Nah, dog. We got so many weapons on this team. It's unreal. And we were able to unleash all of them last week. Yeah, exactly. We literally went from Donald seeing ghosts last week to rising from the dead, Corey McKinney says. You're right, man. I mean, as an offense. I don't know what horror movies these people in Sports Illustrated been watching, but it's past Halloween now. We're not there anymore. It's November. We about to start eating some turkey. You know what I'm saying? Yo. Oh my god. Y'all killing me. These sports people are killing me, man. We can't be doing this every week, guys. They just show us no respect, I'm telling you. They show us no respect. They've been doing it for years, and they still show us no respect now. Oh, man. Corey says, I've been neglecting my Madden game for weeks. Cam got Madden calling my name now. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I started playing some Cam Newton Madden this week too, man. I'm with you. How many of y'all did too? Dude, I was straight throwing some darts with Cam Newton on Madden this week. Oh, yeah. Of course, I played a lot, man. I try to keep my mind sharp, on trading and whatnot like that, so I can trade values and whatnot like that. I'm constantly doing stuff like that, testing the waters, testing new theories and stuff that, you know, none of this stuff will work in the NFL, but you never know. I might stumble on a lump of gold. You never know, right? Just because it's Madden doesn't mean you can't find something that'll work at some point down the road. Like my suggestion of the 6th and 7th draft picks, trading all those training camp people that you're not going to use. See, that's something that was developed on Madden. So y'all can't just throw that idea of, man, put the controller down theory out the window. You know what I'm saying? You can't completely push that out the window because there's some smart people that came up with some ideas off of Madden. For real though. So put some respect on these people's names, man. They came up with these good ideas that actually work in the NFL. And I want to see my idea work too. And I know Tepper's got the guts to do it too. If he's got the guts to trade for those two corners this year and make the moves that he made this year, let's see it, Tep. Let's see it, Fitterer. I want to see it, man. I want to see y'all try it, man. It might work. Did I address the DM I sent you? Yeah. Yeah. I did, man. Um Wait, which one? Oh, it was Corey McKinney that said that. Okay. Oh, okay, this one. I just didn't see it. Okay. Yeah, let me put that up on screen real quick. That looks interesting. That looks interesting enough to look at. Show y'all real quick. All right, so we've got For those people that can't see it, we got Justin Ross, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 27 yards. And keep in mind, this is Keith Taylor, man. Keith Taylor. This isn't even our strongest corner doing all this work. He has held people to less than 5 targets a game. These people don't want to mess with this. They don't want to mess with it. Yo, I'm starting to believe Keith Taylor's the guy, man. I'm starting to believe it. We're going to keep Gilmore, we're going to keep Keith Taylor, and we're going to keep Dante Jackson. The rest of them, we can move. You know, we can move for picks. I like these 3, man. We'll try to maybe keep a 4th or draft one, I think, in the offseason. But I think we found our 3, man. I'm happy with it. Man, thank you for that, Corey McKinney. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, Horn too. Horn too. We're going to keep Horn. That's going to be our 4th guy. Thank you. You're right. So we got Dante, we got Keith Taylor, we got Gilmore, and we got Horn. That is a solid 4 right there. That's a solid 4. Move AJ Boye, move CJ Henderson, package them up together. Let's see what we can get. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to do, off-season wise. That's exactly what I want to do. Yo, we could get some picks out of that. That could really help us. And right now, we're missing a 2nd and a 3rd pick. So, we are in desperate need of a 2nd and a 3rd pick to get offensive linemen. So, throw Robbie in there, throw Sam in there, Sam Darnold in there. I say we can get some picks out of that, guys. What do you guys think? Woo! That's money right there. That's cash money. And I just want to show y'all this stat right here. AJ Green. 3 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards last week. Are y'all hearing this? 3 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards. That's my boy Keith Taylor right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Getting it done. He didn't even just stop in Arizona, though. This man's been working all year, though. Man, props to him. Show him some love. Put some respect on his name. Oh, that's beautiful right there. That's beautiful. Yo. How much is this man making? $660K in base salary, and he's putting in that kind of work? Bruh. Out of a $736,000 contract. You might as well call that $336.5 thousand. That's nutty, man. Yeah, man, you could be my official stat guy for sure. We need one. Especially around April and May, you know, around draft prep time. Because you were very active last year. I remember that. You were helping me out. His heart wasn't in it. Who are we talking about here? Who are we talking about? His heart wasn't in it because he wasn't happy with Sam under center. He's happy with Cam. I think we see a different Robbie now. Oh, okay. Yeah. For sure. Yo, did y'all see the smile on Robbie's face? Like, I'm trying to tell you. I haven't seen Robbie that happy since the beginning of his career. I've been following this dude too. And I knew exactly who he was when we got him. Y'all don't think I watch other teams' sports, man. I do. Y'all think I don't observe other players? I do. I know exactly who these people are before they come here. The majority of them. The big names, anyway. So here's the next thing I want to address. I was watching a little bit of that Washington versus Bucks game. And, they replayed that on NFL Network. And I was watching a little bit of the little miscues that the Bucks were doing, and I thought, in some ways, Washington was getting really lucky. This is the second straight game that Tom Brady has lost with Tampa Bay. I've never seen him lose two straight, except for that 1 year in New England. This is really unusual. And you got people out here saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have chose the Bucks. You shouldn't have chose the Bucks," and yada yada yada. And I'm like, now hold up, now that Washington defense is for real. But a good chunk of that was Tampa Bay miscues. False starts. Small stuff like that we've been doing. For the past few weeks, up until this last game. It's the same stuff. So, I just want to point that out. They're not as. I will grant you that Washington has a top 10 defense. For sure. I'd argue a top 5. Considering how many great defenses are in and out this year, you don't really have a solid top 5, but top 10, absolutely. There's a bunch in the running, including us. Now, yes, we are top 2 in a couple of categories, but that doesn't make us entirely a top 5 team defense. And I've argued this point in the last stream too, because there's a lot of inconsistencies with these defenses, up and down, up and down, up and down each week. This is really a roller coaster of a season when you think about it with defenses. And it's unusual because I haven't seen that very often. And that's why you're seeing a lot of these records look the way they do. Because the offenses have been strong for some of these teams that have the roller coaster defenses. But it's just a day in the life of the NFL, It is what it is. But it's a really weird trend that I've been noticing. So, but Washington has been one of those consistent ones that has been up every week defensively. And I'm not saying that they're the best out there, but we got a lot to watch out for this coming week. They got some good pass rushers. And it's going to be a test for our O-line. I don't think Dennis Daly can handle it. I'm pretty sure the rest of them can, but I don't think Dennis Daly can handle it. Because when he gets matched up against a quality guy, there's false starts, there's holding penalties all over the place. And it's backing our offense up. There's a holding call every single game, at least one from Dennis Daly, every time we start him. And I don't even know. There. Focus on me. But yeah, I think so. I won't give up on Robbie. It's hard to catch all these messages because the chat is so weird. Let me pull up Facebook chat and let me see if I can get caught up here. But yeah, I did want to cover that right there. That was an important comment. Oh, okay. You're you're trying to troll me. All right. Panthers O-line has allowed 1 sack in the past 3 weeks. Also, that's the fewest in the NFL over that 3-week span. But people are trying to say that our offensive line is trash. I'm trying to understand why people still think our offensive line is trash. It's not trash. It's below average. We still have at least two good offensive linemen on this line. You know, so I don't see where they're getting that our offensive line is trash. You know, I will say, yes, we do have a couple of trash players on it. Dennis Daly. I'm not a fan of Sam Tacklenberg. I'm not a fan of Trent Scott at the moment. But by no means is this offensive line trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've held out for most of these games pretty well. And given Sam Darnold time. So, I think, yeah, I'm still going to double up on offensive linemen in the draft, mock drafts for sure. I think offensive line needs to be addressed. Absolutely. That is our biggest weakness right now with Justin Burris back on the field. And our only weakness. So, that in mind, you look at all the weapons that we have, you look at all the defensive players that we have, that offensive line is the only thing left to address. And we got to start with offensive tackle and offensive guard, particularly on the left side, because that's where we've had all our problems. Terrell Moton's doing okay on the right, but, it's getting a little shaky. You know what I'm saying? We had Pat Eflin at center. That's the other position that we need to look at. So, in the last 5 mock drafts that I've done, I have picked up at least one center. At least one. I still feel pretty strongly about the guy from Boston College. And I think we got a shot at getting him. It depends on what draft spot we end up with if we do get into the playoffs and we somehow manage to pull off a win in wild card, which I believe it's possible. But most likely, through the projections that I've ran so far, it looks like we're going to be facing Green Bay in the wild card. And it's going to be wild because, a lot of things can happen between now and then. So there's no guarantee it will be Green Bay in the wild card. But, from as a division leader battling us in wild card, anything can happen this year and has happened. As you noticed from Tampa Bay losing 2 games in a row. So, you don't know. There's a lot of upsets I have not been able to predict this year. But if we can somehow get an idea of what the draft spot will be around that area, we can start showing out these mock drafts a little easier and getting a better idea of what's going to be available around the time that we pick. And I know people are just like, what are you talking about the draft? What are you talking about the draft? Because it's important right now. I don't see us going all the way. I don't see us tanking out either at this point. So our best hope is to try for that wild card spot and make the playoffs. Check that box off. That's okay. People have been screaming at us to make the playoffs. And I think this year would be the year to try to do that. Although it does hurt our draft stock, since we're not going all the way, we can't get the Lombardi. But you know what? I think a lot of fans would be very, very happy after a very rough year of getting a wild card spot. And I would be okay with that because you're still going to get some solid linemen around that time. You're still going to get a solid safety around that time. And I think we could add some linebacker depth, that we could add a pass rusher maybe, and maybe a defensive tackle would be nice too. One of those spots we could open up for Robbie, wide receiver, because I know Robbie may not be here after this. It's possible he could, because you don't want to mess with his contract, but I don't know, man. I don't know. To me, he's worth a third, and we desperately need draft picks right now. So, I don't know what you do there, because we got some solid wide receiver depth. But another fresh face would not hurt, for sure, at wide receiver. We're more than halfway over with the season. It's a great time to talk about the elephant in the room, with that being our weakest links. In other words, we've seen enough football to have an idea of what we need in the draft. Exactly, man. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't know that we triple up on linemen, but I think we double up for sure. There's still a couple of spots in the depth chart that we could explore adding depth to, as far as rookies are concerned. It all depends on who we keep and who we don't in this offseason due to contracts. And that's not my area of expertise. I don't know how, I don't know what players we're going to keep and which players we're not going to keep. Cuts and whatnot. Cuts and ads. So, we won't get a full picture until we see those transactions take place. Then we'll be able to fully map out this mock draft and do as many mocks as possible and just get this thing mapped out. And that'll happen in February, April time frame. March as well. Most of March will be that time frame that we'll be looking at the full picture. Most of those cuts and moves and transactions are already done by the end of January. So, going into mid-February. So we'll see what happens there. Corey McKinney says, John Miller and Cam Irving definitely have to go. At least. Tackleberg can go too. That's why I say at least triple up on the lineman. I've got questions about Cam Irving, but I'm not really ready to kick him to the curb just yet. John Miller, yes. I will agree with you on that one. John Miller has been less than satisfactory this year. Not a fan of John Miller or Tackleberg. Both of them can go. As great as those guys are, it's, as people, I respect them as people, but on the field, what have you done for me lately? You know what I mean? Like, we gonna miss you, and we wish you both luck with whatever you do after we cut you, but, at this point, they're not the answer. Torrin says, I think we keep them up the momentum after the way we beat the Cardinals, and I think we can go all the way. I wouldn't say all the way. I'd say wild card. Maybe a wild card win. Because, like I said earlier, man, I think that the team that we're going to be facing in wild card round is going to be Green Bay, based on projections. But I don't know for 100% what we're going to be doing with. But if you're doing with Aaron Rodgers, we're going to have a heck of a tough game. And anybody that's played the Packers recently can tell you that. Because he is red hot right now. Corey McKinney says, let me show you film on Irving. Irving literally let defensive ends run past him often. Oftentimes, he intentionally won't put his hands up. Okay, yeah, I'll agree with you on the second part of that. I have seen him not get his hands up, and keep the defender's hands engaged. I've seen that, and it's led to pass deflections. And I pointed that out on stream. As far as letting defensive ends run past him at times, that's a bit of a stretch. But I'll check out your film, man. If you got film to show me, show me. Link. Feel free to link me. If you got something that you want to show me there, I'll definitely take a look at it. And I'd be glad to show it on stream for everybody because, everything we do here is a teaching moment, as far as the team is concerned and about football in general, and sometimes about life too. Some of these issues go past life, go past football and are about life. Green Bay has been really weird this year, pretty great most games, but they surprise us and play horrible. Yeah, exactly, man. Like, their secondary has been really, really questionable. I've noticed it when I was watching them. In particular, watching the stats, that type of thing shows up in the stats a lot. Because you look at some of the top defenses out there that were top defenses, but now are really, really questionable, like KC. I'm trying to think of who the other one was I was watching that had a really good defense at one point, and now their secondary is really questionable. And they're just getting roasted every week. I think Tampa Bay qualifies, right? In that list. Because, that was a weird game against Washington. I saw a lot of miscues by the Bucs, but at the same time, that Washington defense is dangerous. But like they say, man, any given week, guys, a lot of weird stuff happens in the NFL, and especially in the last 2 years because of COVID, but it's really messed things up. There's a lot of weird trends that aren't usually there. Such as Tom Brady losing 2 games in a row, Cleveland coming out of nowhere. That's a weird trend. How about some of these weird upsets, man? Like, who would have predicted some of this stuff, man? That's why I'm just like, I was sitting there trying to do predictions for the rest of the year, and I'm just going, what in the world is going on when I looked at all these past scores and everything else? And we've been looking at them every week, I tend to go over those at the end of the streams, towards the end of the streams, but I think it's relevant today. We should go over those now a little bit because there's a couple of them that in the last 2 weeks really caught my attention. Give me a second to pull it up. Tampa Bay being one of them. Let's see. Week 10. Okay. I'm not really focused on those. What I'm looking for is where is it? Yeah, our game was one of the ones that was surprising. And the Minnesota Vikings beating the Chargers was surprising. That I did not expect. Because the Chargers have been red hot lately. They finally cooled off. But what a run by the LA Chargers right now. Man. And you got New England blowing out Cleveland. This is the other one I wanted to call attention to last week. 45-7. Okay, 45-7. When in their entire history this year has New England ever scored 45 points? With Cam Newton or Mac Jones? Like, this is weird. What in the world happened to Cleveland to make that happen? That what baffles me. Folks, that what baffles me right there. And I was sitting here trying to make predictions, and I see that, and I'm going, well, wait a minute. Are these teams really who they claim to be right now? It's like Scooby-Doo, and when they finally catch the killer and they take off the mask, it's like, who is this team? And in this case, it'll be somebody that's not even part of the show for like the entire episode. Like, guys, it wouldn't be a stream anymore this year if it wasn't a Scooby-Doo reference at least once. Come on now. I'm sorry. It's just the same one I keep going back to. But every reference that I made with it makes sense though. So you got Josh McDaniels coaching up Mac Jones. And I think it's a good fit. I really, really do. But let's start looking at some of these Washington defensive players. Let's see what we're doing with, really. Oh, and one more thing. I noticed that Washington picked up Joey Sly. And they were using him. Just wanted to point that out. It's yet another case of a former head coach or a former crew of the Panthers picking up a former player of ours off the free agent list and making him turn into gold. I'm telling you, the man never missed. The entire game. He was 3 for 3. His longest was 46 yards for 11 points. And anybody that has him in fantasy got some good points out of that. But I will say this, man. We have got to be careful who we cut. These guys will come back to haunt us. Every single one of them. We've already seen it several times this year. How many more times do we need to learn that lesson before we finally wake up and decide, oh, hey, this 53-man roster could actually use this player? Or we could at least get something for him. What are we doing? This is where this management just baffles me. I've had question marks about these managements, not just this one, but the past 3, where we have cut people that we should not have cut. They end up with the Bills, they end up with the Cards, they end up with Washington now, and every one of them has come back to kick us in the rear in some way, shape, or form. Boy, I tell you. And not only that, we got our former running back in Atlanta running circles around our defensive tackles last time we played Atlanta. I mean, come on, man. Y'all, don't do this. Don't cut these on the bubble people that have a lot of talent and not get any value for it. Stop doing that, management. Makes no sense. All right, that's my rant on that. All right, so defensively, is that who I think it is? David Mayo. It is. Do y'all remember this dude? We picked him up in the 5th round in 2015 in the draft. No kidding. I don't even believe it. They actually are using David Mayo on their defense right now. 6'2", 240. He's got 6 solo tackles this year. No kidding. This is another case of another linebacker that we've let go of that's had really good coverage. But degraded. But you see that translate into, Washington and Ron Rivera focused him on fumble recoveries, sacks, forced fumbles, and just making tackles, really. But he's got 4 pass deflections for his career. Now, if you take a look at this, he's got 115 total tackles out of 179. That's solo tackles, folks. He's a field tackler, open field tackler. And I know he may not look like much, but he got 3 tackles against Tampa Bay last week. I thought I recognized that name. Yeah, I thought he started out okay in coverage, and then he started to degrade in coverage. And you saw him start to focus on other areas, that energy towards other areas. And his coverage really went to heck. And that's why we got rid of him. But I just thought that was really interesting. Let's see. Corey McKinney says, I just sent you some great film of Irving being lazy and not even putting his hands on defenders and allowing them to blow right past him. Okay, let's check those out. I don't know if we can make this bigger. Can I make this bigger? There we go. Run it again. And make sure I can pause it. Okay. So yeah, on this particular play, this is the first one you showed me here. He's going to be on that left side. And I know y'all can't see this on Facebook, but I'm showing it on YouTube, so just watch it back on YouTube later. So we're going through the slow motion of it. Okay, he's engaged the defensive end right now. And yes, on that particular play, yes, he did allow the defensive end to come after him. But by that point, we already opened that gap over there to allow Darnold to run. So we held him for just long enough that there was a lane. If you look at it at 4 seconds, there's a lane for Darnold to run through. And he gets all the way. This is the same play where he got hurt, I believe, right? Yeah, that's the same play where he got hurt on the 2-yard line. So, yeah. But I did want to dissect that one because that was an important play. Alright, so here's the other one. Let me move this out of the way. Alright, so on that particular play, okay, first thing I noticed was the offsides jump. Did y'all see that? Watch this guy on the very top of the defensive line here. He jumped across the line. He was clearly across the line to begin with. And I don't think they flagged that. But yeah, that was Irving before we got him. And I don't even know what he was doing on that play. His brain was in La La Land on that play. Because he just let him run right past him. Woof. That's a bad look, dude. That's a very bad look for you, Cam Irving. Yikes. But, yeah, thank you for sending me that film, though. That's interesting. The first one was the important one I wanted to cover. That's good. Please forgive the random messages right now because I'm trying to set up plans for my other projects, but I'll deal with that later. I'll respond to them later. If you're seeing it on YouTube. But that's interesting. Excuse the yawn too. I'm a little tired at the moment, but I'm pressing on for you guys. Let's see. Who else do I recognize on this Washington defense that did something last week? Fuller, that name sounds familiar. Kendall Fuller. Yeah. 38 total solo tackles, 1 pick, 8 pass deflections. This guy's from Virginia Tech originally. Round 3 pick by Washington in 2016. 5'11", 198, and is a corner. So, this is a guy we got to really watch out for. Because they have brought him on a blitz package. But for the most part, they keep him in coverage. And you can see he's got open field tackling skills. But the most notable is the 8 pass deflections. That's what I'm concerned about. Because A lot of corners have one interception. I don't care about that. So I think that is something that needs to be looked at. I'm looking at chat here. Corn McKinney says, on that first play, I was saying he was being lazy because he got to the second level and didn't even try to block for Sam, which caused him to get a concussion. I don't think that's what caused the concussion, dude. I don't think that's what caused it at all. There were two guys down there already. You know, when Sam Darnold went head first into it. And you never want to go head first into a pile if you're a quarterback. That's concussion city right there. You know, they always teach you to slide with the feet, and that's the one time he didn't do that this year. So, you know, I don't blame that one on him. No. I don't blame the concussion on him. However, that's true. He did not. Oh, excuse me. He did not hit that second level. You're right about that. But Sam Darnold already had good enough blocking to get to the 2-yard line, which to me, that doesn't really count as being lazy per se, but I guess you could 50-50 it. But you're saying he's in La La Land way too often. Okay. I can agree with that. I've seen enough plays where I think that is a major issue, where he has been in that La La zone way too much for my taste too. I'm with you. Go back and look. The linebacker that tackled Sam should have been picked up by Camp. Really? Okay. Okay, we'll look at it again. Okay. All right, so it's this guy right here at the top of your screen, right? All right, so let's kind of follow his path. Nope. Wasn't him. Let's kind of follow the other guy's path here. Let's see where he ends up. Neither one of them. That's not true. Sorry to tell you, that's not true. Both of them were at the top of the up here at the 10-yard line when he got that concussion. That was the corner and the safety, I believe, that got him. Pretty confident. Okay, yeah. Strong safety, I think. Because he came in out of the picture to hit him. Yeah. All right, so how do I feel about the defense this far? Really good, man. I feel like this is, you know, still a top 10 defense. I feel like we can take this to the playoffs possibly. If our offense puts up enough points. We got to step on the gas though. That's the thing. We got to keep stepping on that gas. The second we let off that gas, we're in trouble. You know? And there's a few games that we really need to win. And I'll point those out to you in just a second. Yes, it was. Let me tell us right. Okay. All right, so we sent a third one. Hold up. All right, let's take a look at it. All right, in that case, yes. In this particular play, yes. That was lazy. That was absolutely lazy. Although he was not the only one that sacked him, therefore I didn't pay much attention to that part of it. But yes, that was an all-out blitz on that particular play. As you can see, like there was a good number of people in the box. Our entire O-line really collapsed during that play. And so it wasn't just him that got credit for that one. But yes, on that particular play, it was Irving that led him through. So I'll give you that one. Mm-hmm. 54 was the linebacker that hit him. Look again at Cam. If Sam Darnold, that was Sam Darnold at the time, would have paid attention and looked for 54, not at Sam, he could have picked up 54 instead of it killed Sam. Yeah. Agreed. That was lazy and that was poor technique. Mm-hmm. Agreed on that one, for sure. He may not have gotten the proper heat from me because the entire O-line collapsed on that same play, but I see what you're saying, for sure. You make a very good case here, for sure. We got a long way to go, though, before we could truly say that this offensive line is going to be capable of taking us to the playoffs. I think we may have to play a lot of musical chairs, see what this new guard that we signed for the practice squad is going to be able to do. If anything at all. It's a guessing game, really, with the offensive line. And we're sitting in a position where we can't afford to play a guessing game because we don't have a safety net game anymore. I'm going to show you. This is the schedule we're looking at. We have got to win games against Washington. We got to win a game against Miami. We got to win against the Falcons. We're probably going to take that L against Buffalo. We've got to get this win against Tampa at home or on the road. One of the two has to be a win. And I would like to see us get this win against the Saints. I think that would put us in a position where we're locked in. So basically, we can only afford 2 losses if we want that 6th seed. And obviously, one of those losses is going to be Tampa Bay, clearly. And the other one's going to be Buffalo. If we don't step it up, if we don't win these games, if we lose even one, we're out. There will be no division title run. There will be no 6th seed. Nothing. We're out if we lose one of those games. We're past the point of well, what if this, what if that? We're past that point. You either step it up or you don't. You either win or you don't. Point blank. Either this offensive line gets it together or they don't. And if they don't, it's going to make the road ahead very, very challenging. And I'm talking about Cam Irving. I'm talking about Trent Scott. I'm talking about all of them. All of them need to step up. We have no more room anymore if we want this playoff spot. There is no more room. There are no more excuses to be made. On those podiums, I will not listen to them. If we cannot step up, we're done. We might as well play for picks at that point. What's up, Dev? How you doing? Welcome on in. But this is crunch time. This is why I'm telling you, this Giants game meant that much to our schedule that it screwed us up royally. Royally. And we're not the only ones that they screwed up either. Look at the Saints. They screwed the Saints up too. So they're going to be struggling for the 6th seed as well now. If we had both beat the Giants like we were supposed to, we would be battling for the 5th seed right now. If we win all these games that we're supposed to win. And take the L against Buffalo and 1 against the Bucs. I don't know about this Giants team. Like they came out of nowhere and they get these like surprise wins that they're not supposed to get. And it just tripped everybody up. And I hate that because that is a winnable game. Think about this, folks. If we split one of these 2 games against the Eagles and the Vikings, let's call the Vikings game a win that we took them to overtime, right? Because that was a 7-point loss that we took right there. 6-point loss? Okay, 6-point loss. Imagine that's a win, right? And that Eagles game was the trap game. And we take care of business against the Giants. We're on track for 10 wins, folks. With a safety net game. You see why this Giants game made me so angry? We weren't even supposed to win against New England. But we're not supposed to win against Buffalo. We're probably going to split against the Tampa Bay Bucs. I mean, let's just be real about that. The Bucs, once they figure us out the first time, are going to come back and they're going to be pissed off. That's if we get the win in Bank of America Stadium. If we don't, we got to go to Tampa and try to get that win and secure our 6th seed. That's where the problems begin. Because all our weaknesses are going to come straight to bear during that game. And we either win it or we don't. Point blank. There is no tie that gets us to a playoff spot. It's either we win or we don't. And I'm telling you, man, we've got to find a way around this Washington defense this Sunday. We got to find a way. We got Cam Newton taking most of the snaps. I think with Christian McCaffrey healthy, I think there's a way to do it. I'm going to be real with you, though. If it comes down to a Tampa Bay game in Tampa Bay to secure a six spot in the playoffs, I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible because Brady's going to figure us out. He's going to have 2 weeks to watch us on tape. 2 weeks. That's You're going to have to deal with Winston before that, but we're going to have to deal with Winston on the road before we play Tampa at home. By then, Tom's already got us on tape. Again. You know what I'm saying, folks? Like, this is dangerous. This is a very, very dangerous part of the schedule. And I was saying that even before the season even started. You know, I don't like it. I don't like this December schedule at all. This is, That bye week comes at a really, really good time. I will say that. Because that allows us to heal. That allows us to prep up. That allows us to get going. And be prepared for December. I would have liked to have it after the Atlanta game. But that's okay. You know, take the Atlanta game as kind of a healing game. Let's just get that, that game under our belt. As a win in our stadium. We'll get people healed up. We'll get set up. And then we'll go after, go into Buffalo, fully loaded. But fully loaded, we're still not going to be enough. I'm going to tell you that. Unless we bring the energy that we brought last week. Unless we play 4 full quarters of football against Buffalo. Then we can go toe-to-toe with them for 4 full quarters, but I don't think it'll be enough. Honestly. Buffalo is that good. Excuse the yawn. But if you want evidence of that, let me just show y'all what Buffalo's been doing this year. 6-3. Now they've been quietly getting 6-3. No one's paying attention to them. I've been focused on them all year. Because I know what they built up and what they're capable of. Slow start against the Steelers, 23-16. Then you start to see that defense start to take effect against the Dolphins. 35-0. They get the win against Washington. The defense only gives up 21. Next week against the Texans, they blank the Texans. Okay, they blank the Texans. Then they slow down a very dangerous Chiefs team at the time that were on the downturn and win 36-20 or 38-20. Again, that defense only gives up 20 points. Y'all see where I'm going with this? This is why this Buffalo team scares me, man. They could make a deep playoff run this year. They lost to the Titans, but not by much. And the Titans are having a really, really good run. So, they give up 31 against... Their defense gives up 34 against the Titans. Now, this is an unusual game. But again, you're doing it with Derrick Henry. So you got to take that into account. That and the Titans are playing well. So then they come back, they recover against the Dolphins 26-11. Now again, that defense only gives up 11 points. Look how strong this Buffalo defense is. They are consistently good every week. Except against playoff teams like the at the time, the Titans. And yeah. They gave up 21 against Washington, so there you go. They take that loss against the Jags, but again, only giving up 9 points. They take on the Jets. Defense only gives up 17. This is a consistently good Buffalo defense that we've got going into December here. This is why I don't think we could take them. Now, the only thing we got good going for us before that game is that Tom Brady plays them the week before. And if anybody can find a weakness in that Buffalo defense, it's going to be Tom Brady. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what shows up on tape. But if you think that what you see on tape against the Buccaneers, when Buffalo plays the Buccaneers, is what we're going to see when we play them the next week, you're kidding yourself. Remember, we're dealing with McDermott here. McDermott used to be our defensive coordinator. This dude is a pro at adjustments. He's one of the best out there at adjustments. So we'll see how much of that same stuff shows up on tape, later on. But that Buffalo defense scares me, man. With our line being how it is, I don't know, man. That's why I'm trying to tell y'all that are still believers in that us getting that win in Buffalo. I don't see it. I don't see it. All right, so we're going to take a break. And hold on 1 second. There we go. Put on some music for you guys, and we'll take our break. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. It's a lot of fun.
Open Google Maps to explore your area.
Apologies, commercials, we'll try this one.
Open Google.
Stop, Google. We don't want your products. Thank you. There we go. All right, I'll be back, folks. Hit that like button one time. Hit that follow button one time. We'll be back. All right, folks. How you doing? We're back from break, and how's everybody feeling? We got this big win coming up, and yeah, it's hopefully we can get it against Washington. This time around, it's a little different. You know, last year we were sitting in a spot where if we tried to win against Washington, and we did win against Washington, it hurt our draft spot, which would have ensured that we got the offensive tackle from Oregon. But now we're here. We ended up with J.C. Horn, which, I mean, is not a horrible pick at all. You know, I love J.C. Horn. You know, but still, you know, we could have had the offensive tackle from Oregon. He would have panned out for us. He would have been healthy. And we would be playing musical chairs again. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just getting ridiculous to this point. And now, like, this time around, going up against Washington, we got a playoff spot on the line. So, in this particular situation, we've got to win. Okay. So, now what? Now is the proper time to get your revenge against Ron Rivera and his staff. Now is the proper time to put the heat on Washington. Not last year when we didn't need to, but this year when we do need to. Do people finally now understand why the timing is important for everything that we do? And why we do the things that we need to do versus not do the things that we don't need to do? Or are we still stuck in that situation where, oh, well, if only we had done this, if only we had done that? No. This management needs to learn. This is the definition of insanity. Every year we keep dealing with the same issues. The same exact ones. Doesn't matter what regime it is, who's leading the way, it's the same ones. Offensive line issues, health issues, moving and cutting people that we're not supposed to move and cut, adding people that we don't need, like Matt Barkley. And at least one coordinator every year that just doesn't get it done. That holds us back. And if it's not a coordinator, it's a quarterback. Five key issues every single year. Consistently. You'd think we'd learn by now. But no. We're too busy settling. And that's exactly the problem. But you know what? You know what I saw this Sunday that I haven't seen for the past 5 or 6 years? So I finally changed that mindset. I saw us finally want to win. Now, y'all can talk a big game in these press conferences and say, oh, I want to win, I want to win, I want to win. This is what I'm doing wrong, this is what I need to correct. But until you actually put your money where your mouth is, put the sneakers where your mouth is when it comes to football, I'm not going to believe a word you're saying. Show me. Come out and show me. Don't just tell me. Show me. I love some good words. Don't get me wrong. I love a good fairy tale. There's Peter Pan. There's Snow White. But come out here and show me that you can do all this stuff, man. You can facade me with fairy tales all day long. But until you show me, I'm not going to believe it. I'm going to be straight up real with you. Show me. And Cam Newton did this Sunday. Let me tell you how. 3 main ways. Number 1, this man came in a bow tie, in a business suit. He didn't come in all those flashy clothes and all that crazy fashion stuff that he usually does. No, this man came in a freaking bow tie. It was looking sharp. That told me, number 1, this man is serious. Number 2, this man didn't just talk a big game saying he was going to correct his issues. He was going to come in here and take care of business. He actually did it. He actually put it. And number 3, everybody saw that. Everybody saw that. And they said, you know what? If this man's serious, we got to get serious too. That means we got to play our best game for this man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to try our very best. We got to do everything we're supposed to be doing. Otherwise, why are you out there? Are you just there to dress out in a uniform? No. And I'm not saying you're going to play a mistake-free ball. Especially against the Cards, or Washington, or the Bucks, or the Dolphins. But if you come out there and you play 4 full quarters, trying your absolute hardest and putting 110% into it, with Cam Newton's energy leading the way, and be serious, we got a shot. And O-line, I'm talking to you. I need full 4 quarters from you. I'm not talking about mistake-free ball. I'm talking about full 4 quarters of just digging into the trenches and winning that war. Keeping those hands engaged. Using proper technique. Make sure there are no pass deflections going past that line. Or at the line of scrimmage. No holding calls. I can forgive a false start. That's okay. Just don't make a habit of it. I'm going to call you out on it, but don't make a habit of it. But if these guys play full 4 quarters of straight-laced football, Carolina Panthers football, I'm not talking about the Cardiac Cats football. I'm talking about Carolina Panthers football for 4 quarters. We got a shot at these playoffs. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at this Washington depth chart, shall we? I'm ready to dig into this. I'm ready, y'all. There it is. There it is. Depth chart. Let me pull it up real quick and then I'll put it on screen. Depth chart. Let's talk about this depth chart first. Let's see who's on it. And then we'll take a look at the injury list. And then we'll go from there. Speaking of which, my man Kenny from Underdog Sports says that Chase Young will not be in today for this week's game. We'll check into that after we take a look at this depth chart. Alright, so I just want to look at the offense first. The offense boasts a Ryan Fitzpatrick battle with Taylor Heinicke. These two have been going at it since the beginning of the season, trying to get that number one spot. And I think Taylor got it. But you'll recognize Kyle Allen. That's a former quarterback of ours as well. Then we're going to look at running back, which is Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick. And J.D. McKissick's a fairly good running back. I want to look at him real quick. I want to show you guys what he's capable of doing. Now, he hasn't had many carries this year, I don't believe. But, okay, he has 34 carries, 136 yards, and 1 touchdown. Okay. There you go. Washington's been mostly pass happy. Because of Taylor Heinicke. So I don't know why I keep saying Tyler. My brain just goes to Tyler. I don't know why. So his last couple of games, we're looking at in the Chiefs game, 8 carries for 45 was probably his best game this year. Where he had 8 receptions during that game as well, 65 yards. Then you go to you would have to go to the Broncos game to see him really stand out again. And that was at catching passes at wide receiver. 8 catches for 83 yards. In rushes. So this is the guy we want to seriously take a look at when it comes to rushing for Washington. In his last game, we're taking a look at his last few games here. The Buccaneers game was the most significant. 24 carries, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 2 catches during that day. We rewind back to week 8 because they had a bye in week 9. Broncos. 8 carries for 34 yards, 3 catches for 20. I mean, he is a cog in the machine, basically. But he's a very important cog in the Washington machine. And before the Buccaneers game, rushing-wise, the most successful days he's had were the Saints game and the Falcons game. Saints game, he had 20 carries for 60. 2 catches for 12. Falcons game, he had 14. 2 catches for 12. 2 rushing touchdowns in the Saints game. as far as receiving, he's got one receiving touchdown against the Bills, which I'm very, very surprised at. That Bills secondary is probably the best secondary in the league, in my opinion. So it'd be very, very tough to get a touchdown off of them, receiving-wise. Yeah, again, I haven't taken a full look at Buffalo's defense, but based on the numbers I'm seeing from teams that have played against them thus far on box scores, it's apparent to me that the Bills have one of the best secondaries in the league, if not the best. Arguably, of course. So yes, Gibson is a concern. We need to watch out for him in the rushing game. We can shut him down, I think. But then we've got Curtis Samuel. And everybody here knows what Curtis Samuel can do. Okay, it's not a mystery what Curtis Samuel can do. He was part of that pair of wide receivers last year. We retained one of them. That was one of the top 10 wide receiver duos in the league. Arguably top 5. These guys were tearing it up last year at wide receiver. So if Samuel can stay healthy, man, what has he done this year? 4 catches for 19, 4.8 average. He hasn't been healthy since the Saints game, which is a real shame. But respect to him. He's having a heck of a career, even with the injuries. Moving on. Now, Adam Humphries is a name that stands out to me. This is a former Clemson standout at wide receiver. 7 years in the league. 5'11", 195. He's got hands, folks. But most importantly, the yards after the catch. You'll notice that average, 10.7 average. That's yards after the catch factored in. 21 receptions, 225 yards. No touchdowns, but he will get you down the field. Oh, yes. He'll get you down the field. It may not look spectacular. It may not look pretty, but he'll get you there. Giants game, 7 catches for 44 yards. Popped off that week. The Saints game, 3 catches for 73. To find the next best game of his. And there's also the 2 catches against the Broncos for 35. 3 catches for 36 against the Packers. So, he's playing his little small part. But if you take a look at his history, he was with the Bucks from 15 to 18. Titans for 2 years. And now Washington. They haven't played him much. He's only started 28 games out of 88. But look at this, 300 catches for 3,156 career yards. That's a 10.37 career average. Average, folks. Look at this average. It's consistent. It's consistently good. He's got 13 career touchdowns. Now again, cog in the machine. Like I said. You can have him on a couple of running plays, a couple of, trick plays and stuff like that. When you're trying to divert attention from one of your other wide receivers or your running back. But here's the concern for Adam Humphries. And this was a concern during the Clemson days too. 7 fumbles. 7 career fumbles. There's your weakness. How you doing, Shanika? Appreciate having you in here. But this Adam Humphries is a tough guy, man. He'll get you yards. They don't throw to him much, but when they do, he will get you yards. Now here's another name that should stand out to everybody. Samuel Cosmi. Remember I pointed him out in mock drafts. At offensive tackle. From Texas. This was the other guy that I had in mind for us. I was looking at Cosmi, man. And you're looking at a 6'6", 309-pound guy here. This is a big, muscular guy. He's got good hands. He's got good technique. He's got good feet. And what are they doing with him? Right tackle. I told you. We could have had that. We're lucky we got Deontay Brown. I'm not sold on Brady Christensen right now, but we'll see. All right. At right guard, you got Brandon Scherff. Brandon Scherff. 7 years in the league, 6'5", 315-pound, absolute gorilla of a linebacker. Offensive lineman here, man. Absolute gorilla of an offensive lineman. This dude will bully defensive players. If you don't bring your full A game coming at him, pass rushing wise, he will bully you on that offensive line. 3-time Pro Bowler, 16, 17, and 19. Okay, this is what I'm talking about here, man. Former 5th overall pick. And he started all 65 regular season games. And 1 preseason game since being drafted. Now, why can't we get an offensive lineman like this? Why can't we get one like this? Oh, it drives me crazy. These are the types of guys we need right here. These absolute monsters on the line that are built like tanks. Oh, God, I miss the old days when we had all these great guys on the offensive line, man. Oh, I miss those days so much. We never had a thing to worry about with the offensive line back then. Next one I want to point out, Eric Flowers Sr. Now, this is an offensive tackle who's been in the league for 7 years from Miami. 6'6", 330. Again, absolute tank on the offensive line. He was picked 9th overall in the first round by the Giants in 2015. That was not Gettleman. Gettleman was in Carolina at the time. He would have never picked him. I can guarantee you that. But that's another one that we missed out on right there. How many more are we going to miss? How many more? All right, moving on. Terry McLaurin. 6'0", 210 pounds. 49 receptions, 632 receptions, 4 touchdowns, and 12.9 average. So let's take a look at how he's doing this year. And I think if you want to look at the success that he's had, the best games you're going to find are the Giants game, the Falcons game, the Packers game, and the recent Buccaneers game. And we're going to start with this Giants stat here. 11 catches for 107 yards, touchdown. But his best game was against the Falcons, and the Falcons are absolutely terrible. Consistently terrible, at least. If you're consistent, at least be consistent at either being good or being terrible. One of the two. But 6 catches for 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. Falcons secondary is trash. I'm not surprised. Packers game, 7 catches, 122 yards, touchdown. Buccaneers game, 6 catches, 59 yards. And the rest of them, you're not seeing more than 4 catches a game. Now, I wonder why that is. Makes you wonder, right? And he's not getting touchdowns in those games. Which tells me that these defenses have found a way to shut this guy down. To the point where he's not dangerous. And he just gets you a couple of first downs. It's that 12.9. That's what scares me. Because that's yards after the catch. So if you allow this man to get yards after the catch, you're already in trouble. Okay? Don't let him do it. And you'll be fine. And I have complete confidence in this defense that they are not going to let him get by you. I have complete confidence. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Once we're able to shut down Terry, and Curtis Samuel's had injury problems, you could shut down Humphries. So that means you may see a little bit of Diami Brown. You may see a little bit of Cam Sims. You may see some DeAndre Carter in this game coming up. Because these guys are going to struggle a little bit. So you'll see a little of them. Not much, but enough that it will be a concern. And they'll, But 5 catches, 62 yards for Cam Sims. Again, yards up the catch, 12.4 average. He's from Alabama. And you know those Alabama wide receivers can catch. So watch out for that. All right, so look for them to try to get J.D. McKissick more involved in the receiving game in this game. I don't think they're going to use Diami Brown, but you never know. Let's see his stats so far. Excuse me. 8 catches for 81 yards. Yeah, they're probably not going to use him much. Maybe for a couple of catches, but that'll be it. I don't see him getting heavily involved. Cam Sims, though. Cam Sims is the one you got to watch out for. On those little slot passes and stuff like that. those little short passes, that'll be where he can do the most damage. Carter. Carter's the most dangerous of them all, though, as far as like backup wide receivers. 12 receptions, 197 yards, 16.4 average, 2 touchdowns. But the number I want to point out is the 16.4. And the reason why, if you've been paying attention, yards after the catch. I'm telling you. He may not have many catches, but look how many yards he got off of those 12 catches. The man can move. 5'8", 188 pounds, 4 years in the league, 28 years old. And it's yet again another situation where if you put this ball in the man's hands, he will find a way to get your first down. So let's take a look at Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas, 6'6", 250. He's had 12 catches, 117 yards thus far, 9.8 average, 2 touchdowns. Now, again, the concern is these over-the-middle passes with Logan Thomas because he's a big target for Taylor. You know, he'll get you about 4 or 5 catches a game, most likely. 3 if he's shut down. But he's still very, very dangerous. You know, you can't underestimate him. You can't let him get out of your sight. He had 72 catches last year for 670 yards, and 6 touchdowns, which may not sound like a lot for tight ends, but again, what have I been saying? Cog in the machine, right? So he's got, as a career, he started 27 games out of 62. But 119 catches, 1,104 yards as a career. And that average, before you see that number start creeping up in 19 and 20, was a little lower than you would expect for a tight end. Your career average is 7.65. He had a slow year in 2018. But look at this, 9.6, 9.3, 9.8. So if you take out that 2018 year, average-wise, he's looking solid, dude. He's looking... That's what I'm saying. Don't look at that average number and just say, well, he's not a threat. You know? Or look at those number totals and say, we ain't going to worry about him. Watch out for those short passes over the middle, man. I'm telling you. That's where they're going to try to hit him. All right, so that's the offense. We're going to take a look at the injuries for the offense. What's on the injury report for offensive wise? Shadik Charles is on there. Curtis Samuel again is on there for the injury report. Did not practice Wednesday or today. I don't think Curtis Samuel's going to play. Most likely not. Groin injury, those are typically pretty serious. There's a third string tight end on here. That I'm not going to be concerned with. Cosmi has an ankle injury. Limited practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Interesting. Gibson with a shin injury, limited practice Wednesday and Thursday. Terry McLaurin, shoulder injury, limited practice on Wednesday, full practice on Thursday. So I expect him to play, most likely. We'll probably see him. Samias Reyes, the tight end, the backup tight end, hip injury, limited practice, full practice. Brandon Scherff with a knee injury, limited practice on Wednesday and Thursday. So that's your offensive players. We'll go back into the defensive in just a minute once we see who else is on that defensive roster. I do want to go over our defensive injuries real quick before we get into theirs. We got Marquise Haynes with a foot injury. Did not practice on Wednesday, full practice on Thursday. So, that's a little interesting there. So he had a full practice on Thursday, so he's okay. Ankle injury, maybe? I don't know. Frankie Luvu, shoulder injury. Limited practice on Wednesday, full practice on Thursday. Melvin with a hand injury. Full practice. We'll see all of them. Stanley Thomas Oliver, toe injury, full practice on Wednesday and Thursday. So, all of these guys had full practices today. Yo, man. That's good news. That's really good news. Because we need all of them this week. All hands on deck for the next 2 weeks. That is okay if we don't have some of these guys for, the Bucks game. I don't see us taking that Bucks game. That's okay if some of these guys are not available for that last game of the season too. I don't think we're going to take that one either. So, that being said, the games we got to have all hands on deck for are these next two here against Washington and Miami. And then we got to have everybody healthy for that Bucks game in Charlotte. In order to have a successful playoff run. Alright, so let's look at the defensive players that are on this list. Fuller, with a knee injury, limited practice on Thursday, did not practice on Wednesday. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Benjamin is a backup, but he's got a concussion. Did not practice, limited practice, don't worry about him. And the last one is Danny Johnson, who is a corner, wrist injury, full practice on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll probably see him if he is part of the original starting depth chart. As of right now, we are dealing with Chase Young, which I am told is not going to be in. But he's not listed on the injury report. So, Kenny, I don't know where you got that in. If you got something to back that up with, I'd love to see it. If you got a legitimate link, man, hit me with it. Because I do want to know if we're dealing with Chase Young or not. That's a big name right there. Now let's take a look at what Chase Young has done this year. 6'5", 264 from Ohio State, 10 solo tackles a sack and a half, 2 forced fumbles. And, I mean, it's equally spread out throughout the games, but this is what I want to look at, is when that pass deflection occurred. Was, I guess, the Packers? I do remember that, I think. Yeah. And the forced fumble happened against the Broncos. So I just wanted to look at how his season's been going. Okay. Spacer just said Chase Young is out for the season with a torn ACL. Ooh. Wow. Speedy recovery to him. Torn ACL is no fun. Yikes. Okay, so we won't be doing with him. That's confirmed. He is indeed on the IR. So then, next one we're going to be doing with that could hurt us is Montez Sweat. And Montez Sweat has been making a name for himself this year. 6'6", 262. And this dude is fast. I mean, real fast. 10 solo tackles, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. This is the guy we got to watch out for. And he got his forced fumbles against the Packers, and he got one against the Chargers. Both potential playoff teams, I might add. So, he's gotten a sack against Aaron Rodgers. He's gotten a sack against Matt Ryan. He also took down Daniel Jones and the Chargers quarterback as well. So, this is not a fluke. I was hearing some buzz about people taking him in fantasy too. So, think what you will. But he had an excellent day against the Saints. 5 tackles. 2 of them solo. But probably his best day was most likely against the Chargers. You got 4 solo tackles. You got 4 total tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, and a forced fumble. I mean, what better day could you ask for if you're Montez Sweat? I mean, the Saints were just awful that game. Let's be real. That they played them in. But he's out with a broken jaw. Huh. Alright, what other ones are listed on this injury report that I don't know about? Because I've gone... These are the ones on the injury report. They don't show me an IR list. So, which other ones are we going to be looking at for the IR list? I have not fully looked at this team yet. Or who's on it. So if you know something that I don't, please do. Share away. Y'all can see this right. Oh, you can't. You can't. Okay. That was my bad. I didn't even have it on screen. Wow. Alright, there you go. So that is your injury report thus far. Alright, so thus far we got Chase Young and we got Montez Sweat on the IR. Correct? Or is Montez Sweat just out with a broken jaw for a few weeks? I don't know how long that injury is, typically. That could be weeks or it could be months, depending on the severity of the injury. Okay. So we're gonna take a look at the rest of this. Now, let's focus on defensive tackles. Payne has my attention right now. 6'3", 320 pounds, 14 solo tackles, 2 sacks. He's got a lot of pressures this year, it looks like. And finally is starting to get rewarded with a sack or two. So that's good. Looks like 5 total tackles here. That's interesting. Okay. So we're looking at a healthy defensive tackle here. He's played 50 of 56 games, 180 total tackles, 95 solo. Out of the 180. That's roughly half. 12 sacks on his career. 9 pass deflections. 4 of those he got last year. It's looking to me like last year was his best year, most likely. Because he had 3 forced fumbles that year, totaling up to 4 for his career, and 1 interception that year as well. So, yeah, this guy could be a little dangerous this year. We'll see. We'll see how our offensive line handles him. If he is on, point blank, expect a holding call. Because this guy's from Alabama. He's fast. Even because of his frame, he's still fast. And he can still outmatch Dennis Daly, I think. So I'm a little concerned about that. The other one, Jonathan Allen. See, I don't know which one plays on the left and which one plays on the right. And I don't know who's going to get matched up against who on Sunday. We'll see. Because again, I only watched a little bit of this Washington team against the Buccaneers, and I wasn't exactly looking at defensive tackles and matchups. So, but again, Jonathan Allen, we're looking at a 6'3", 300-pound guy from Alabama. That's a pair of Alabama defensive tackles. Now, do y'all remember when I was doing mock drafts, I could get a pair of Alabama guys. Of my own. In the 3rd or 4th round. That's just saying, man. I'm just saying. These Alabama guys come very, very well resumed, and they're very tough guys, man. They're very fast. They're very physical. From what I know about Alabama players. And that's just all the way down the roster when you're talking about Nick Saban players that come up to the NFL. They translate very well. They tend to. Spacer says the only other big player that I know of won't have playing time for sure is Curtis Samuel. I heard from a Washington fan that their O-line is a little beat up. So their offensive line is a little beat up, huh? Okay. That gives Nixon an opportunity to make a few plays. And Nixon has been quietly racking up these tackles this year. If you noticed it. Like, he's not going to stand out in the box scores, but he quietly gets his tackles and his quarterback pressures. But when he stands out, man, you'll notice him. Like these quarterback sacks and these quarterback pressures, you'll notice him. But when he gets involved with run stops, you barely notice him at all because he's in there with those piles with other players, you know. So, but I would like to see him start to get a little bit more heated up on those quarterback pressures. Let's push the envelope a little bit more with him. And this is the game to do it. If you're gonna have a beat up offensive line for Washington, this is the game to try to push that and go a little further. You saw him do work last game, so that was exciting to watch. But we'll just see how things roll. Okay. Moving on to the linebackers. Bostick is the one that stands out to me. And Bostick has had a pretty good career so far. 6'1", 245 pounds. 11 solo tackles. Kind of a quiet year thus far for him. Because normally you're seeing him, see these numbers right here? You expect to see him get like 116 tackles for the year, or 99, or 94, somewhere in that range, when he's having a really good year. But right now we're just looking at 21, and I'm not real sure where he starts heating up at, but we got to be careful. We don't want to get him heated up, because that could spell some trouble. He's got 9.5 sacks career-wise. Thus far, 3 interceptions on his career. And 15 pass deflections. 314 tackles out of 536 were solos. So he's an open field tackler. He classifies as one. So this is going to be really, really interesting to see if we can keep Bostick from getting involved in this game. Then we're going to have a good chance of moving the ball around that area of the field. But we got to find a way to take him out of some of these plays. Otherwise, he'll get those tackles. And I think the answer to that is Christian McCaffrey. If you really want to be specific about that, Christian McCaffrey is the answer. We've been able to run around some of these linebackers with him, and he's been able to break some tackles and move the chains. So I feel like there's a chance there that, if we get a good enough block on Bostick, we could open up a sizable hole for CMC to run for a good 6-7 yards per play. It's going to be tough. That's a big... We're not the best blocking crew right now. So that's what I'm going to suggest to the coaches, is that we start working on that this week. That's one thing that has been kind of a little shaky more towards the left side and the right side of the line. Up the middle, we're fine. I've seen some holes open up for CMC, for all the running backs, really, and we haven't had an issue there, with ISOs and draws. But when you talk about counters, when you talk about sweeps, we got to have Robbie blocking. We got to have Ian Thomas getting those blocks. We got to have, whoever is out there pick up those blocks and not miss them, or we're going to fall into some trouble. Because these guys can tackle. And they will start shutting down plays if we don't start getting those blocks and executing properly. And people like John Bostick, they're very, very good at that. Again, this is a Florida product. And the Florida guys are really good at stopping runs during that time frame that he was drafted. So we got Cole Holcomb. I'm not as familiar with these two. Let's take a look at them. We'll start with Jamin Davis. 21 solo tackles. Okay, not too exciting here. He got most of his tackles against the Chiefs. I see 5 here against the Buccaneers last week. Spacer says, I feel like since Washington is missing their 2 starting defensive ends, we should run CMC on the outside to get him one-on-one with the linebackers. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. These guys have got their blocks on the outside, though, in order to open up lanes for CMC to run. Like I was just saying. If they don't, and Robbie struggles with that. You've seen him struggle with it. Ian Thomas has been questionable about it as well. Everybody else has been okay, but those 2 in particular, I'd like to see them run some blocking drills and see them start to work on that a little bit. Strengthen that skill so that, when they come up on Sunday, they're ready. Okay, so this is kind of a quiet guy here. We got 21 solo tackles for 33. He's a rookie from Kentucky. Now, as I remember it, Kentucky had some really, really good defensive players when he was drafted last year. At that point. I don't know how many of those defensive players went in the draft, but that was a good Kentucky team, man. That was a nasty group right there. I wouldn't have wanted to play them. But they surprised some people. For sure, they surprised some people. Cole Holcomb. 6'1", 240. We're talking about a 3-year man here from North Carolina. 42 solo tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception, and 2 forced fumbles. Okay, so he's having a good year. This is the guy we got to watch out for, clearly. And look at these numbers. They're consistent every game, just about. I mean, this is fun. Looking at some of these stats right here, because you got 13 tackles against the Bills. My goodness. 10 against the Chargers. 7 against the Saints. 8 tackles against the Chiefs. 8 tackles against the Broncos, 4 against the Bucks. So, I mean, this guy is consistently good enough to compete against the Chiefs. And an interception against the Saints for 23 yards. Wow. Okay. 2 forced fumbles. One against the Chiefs, one against the Falcons. Okay. Expected against the Falcons. The Falcons are trash. So, this is a guy we got to watch out for right here. Good to know. And 3-year product right there. All right, so moving on to the corners, we got Kendall Fuller, we got William Jackson III, we got Benjamin, who was on the injury list, Torrey, and Darryl Roberts. Let's take a look at Kendall Fuller, because I think Kendall Fuller is probably their best corner, from what I've heard. 5'11", 198, 6-year vet here, 35 solo tackles, 1 sack, 1 pick. And that pick happened against Patrick Mahomes. Wow. But look at the consistent amount of pass deflections here. This is interesting. You got 2 against the Falcons. You got 2 against the Broncos. Pretty much won a game, man. That's interesting. All right. That Chiefs game seemed to be his best game. 7 total tackles on that day. 10 total tackles against the Bills. All right. Let's see his career numbers. He's played 54 out of 78 starting games. 238 tackles out of 314. So he is an open field tackler. So we need to watch out for that. 2 sacks. And the big number here is 11 picks. We had 4 last year, 4 in 2017. 2 forced fumbles, but that was early on in his career. Okay. But he was drafted in the 3rd round and traded to the Chiefs in 2018. All right. So that's him. And William Jackson III. Let's look at him real quick. 6'0", 189. Yep. Exactly as I thought. The other guy was the main guy we got to watch out for. 19 solo tackles, but 2 picks. Okay, I'm circling the 2 picks because that's what we need to watch out for right there. That is exactly what we need to watch out for. If we keep forcing these balls, and I don't know how much Cam has developed since the last time we put him on the field, for a full game. So I'm a little concerned that he may try to jam one in there, and it may not end well. That's my concern. Because we haven't seen him medium throw yet. We haven't seen him deep ball throw yet. this year. You know, we saw it last year, but we didn't see it this year. And this year is the year that matters for that. So, if you're looking to test the waters with Cam Newton deep ball throwing, this would not be the game to do it. These corners are really solid. And I don't think I would test the waters here. I think I would stick short and medium. And let's just try to get as many medium passes as we can get, medium range. You know, just move the sticks. Move the sticks. Move the sticks. That's the main thing. Use CMC, you know. Whatever we were doing last week, keep doing it. You know, because it was working. And, you know, and it looked like a game management offense, but still. Sometimes that's what's necessary, you know, based on the defenses that they give you. So, some games that works way better than others. And it all depends. You know, does the defense you're playing against have a good linebacking core or not? You know, do they have good corners? Or is their secondary good enough that it covers it up? So you have to focus on game management. That's where it becomes interesting enough to start using game management type tactics. But see, you're dealing with a guy right here at corner that's 133 solo tackles out of 165. So that's an open field tackler. 1 sack. So he's not being pushed into blitzing packages. That's going to be somebody else. You know, and I don't know what type of defense. I would assume it's a 4-3 because Ron Rivera used to run 4-3 every time with us except for 1 year. So I would assume he's got a defensive coordinator that goes 4-3. But here's the big number I want y'all to watch out for right here. Career-wise, 47 pass deflections. Look at this right here. That's what I want y'all to see, man. That's the number that's going to matter in this upcoming game. And that's why I don't want that ball forced over there. If anybody has to force it, it better be Cam. Because Cam is the only one that is going to throw darts that are clean enough to get in there in those small windows where only he can throw them, you know. And you saw one of those in the end zone to Robbie Anderson last week. That was a really tight window, and he was able to get that thing in there. But can he do that, you know, with medium throws? And that's where he's going to get in trouble. Because if you see this ball get forced in that direction, and most likely this guy's going to have help from the safety, that's trouble. That's a double coverage, and you're going to be really unhappy when you see an incompletion there. And he deflects it again, you know. Here's the interesting thing. 5 interceptions. Career-wise, he's already had 2 this year, so I'm not too concerned about that one at this point now. I've kind of changed my tune on that one. because that's more than his quota for the year. That he usually gets. So, like I said, the concern is pass deflections now. You know, which wide receiver is he going to be on? Most likely DJ. I doubt he would be put on Robbie, but if he is, then yeah, that ain't going to be pretty because we've seen how that ends up. There's been a lot of deflected balls that have been forced to Robbie this year before the Arizona game, so I don't like that. So if you see him lined up against Robbie, do not throw it there. Do not throw it there at all. If you see him lined up against DJ, if you see a window, green light with Cam Newton. Because 9 times out of 10, he's going to fit that ball in there, and it's going to work. Because he's Cam Newton. So, he's still one of the most accurate passers out there when he's trying to throw it into tight windows. I can see it working. But you got to be very careful with William, though. I don't like that right there. That number concerns me a little bit. All right, so we're looking at Landon Collins now, 6'0", 218, 32 solo tackles, 1 sack. The concern for him, I wouldn't even really call it a concern, is again pass deflection. He's got 37 for his career. But now you're not so much concerned about that. You're just looking at it like, okay. You know. But he does not have an interception this year. As you can see, he had 5 interceptions in 2016. He had 2 in 2017 with the Giants. He had 1 last year. So he's due. He's due for a pick. Now, here's the thing we're going to be looking at with him. Open field tackling. He's very good at it. 403 for solo tackles out of 588. Started in all 90 games, so we're going to definitely see him. And he's already gotten his sack for the year, so I don't think they're going to blitz him against us, but you never know. I mean, Ron Rivera is famous for doing the unexpected. And that's how he keeps getting the upper edge on some people, man. So we'll see. We shall see on that. He does not have a forced fumble this year either, which he's been consistently getting one every year. Now, will that happen against us? Hopefully not. We've been pretty good at guarding the football, unless we make our own mistakes. So, it hasn't really been forced fumbles from other team players, It's mostly been us making stupid mistakes. So, we just got to get on those and focus up, Make sure we focus in on keeping that ball in the arms of our running backs. As you noticed last week, we had that bad handoff. So we got to keep running these drills, man, and making sure that we're okay. Making sure that we don't hand that ball over. Because that's going to be trouble. Spacer says Cam is really good at doing quarterback read options with the running backs. He could really fake out the Washington defense with that. Yes. Good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. He's one of the best out there at it. Matter of fact. Okay, so that's Landon Collins. You know, he's good at the open field tackling, so, you know, he'll save Washington a lot of touchdowns. But, I mean, we'll get into the red zone, though. Based on the attack pattern that I'm starting to see being formed here, with CMC and, you know, a couple of short passes and medium passes that we were running last week, I can see it. What's my score prediction? Well, at the moment, I'm still exploring their defense, so let me get an idea of what we're dealing with first, and then I'll be able to tell you possibly. So we're looking at the safety. We're looking at Cameron Curl, 6'2", 198. 32 solo tackles this year. Okay, so we got another good safety here. And we don't really need to worry about pass deflections. He's only got one. That was last week. So, yeah, honestly, I believe that might have been a fluke. Because Tom was playing some bad ball last week. So we'll see. And that offensive line of his was getting beat up, too. All right, so we're dealing with a guy that has played 19 of 25 total games so far. Started them. You know, played all 4 quarters. 91 solo tackles, 135 total. So he's an open field tackler. 2 sacks thus far last year. 7 pass deflections. 3 interceptions last year. He doesn't have any this year. Okay. That blank right there, that blank space, that concerns me. The fact that he doesn't have one yet. Watch out. All right, so he's got and one of those was a pick 6. Okay, good to know. Good to know. So, very fast guy. Arkansas is famous for fast safeties, and there's always been a big history of that from Arkansas. Score prediction. This is going to be tough, man. I don't think we added anybody to the IR this week, did we? No. Not that I know of. So we're starting to get these guys back. That's good. Let me take a look at our depth chart. Let me see where they're playing people at. That's another thing I wanted to look at. I'll tell you this much, man. This is a very dangerous Washington defense, though. We're going to have to really think strategically if we want to get past some of these players. Now, we will not have to deal with the defensive ends, so they'll be limited on pass rush. So the focus is going to be on running CMC to the outside and pushing these linebackers and forcing them to make plays. That also forces their secondary to really double down because they don't have that pass rush anymore. So they have to settle into their coverages, which can hurt them. We can find some holes. But that's up to Cam Newton. We've got to have... you know what? I'm starting to believe Cam Newton should be the starter for this one. I think that's the wisest move. PJ going short and medium is really good, but Cam Newton can fit some of those passes in that PJ can't. Although you never know, PJ's been playing better last week. Like I say, I think we stick with that same strategy we were working with last week. Everything we were doing last week, let's stick with it. Minus the draws, let's force those runs to the outside instead of the medium, instead of the middle. Unless we were talking about like 3rd and 1 or, a 2nd and 1 or something like that, then, I see no reason why we can't just jam it in there. But I'd like to see Chuba Hubbard do that. Honestly. That would be a situation where Chuba would be the greatest choice. Because we're trying to make him into a power back. We're trying to force him into situations like that where he can do a lot more good in those scenarios. And like I was saying before, man, 1-2 punch. CMC and Chuba, man, I like it. We actually have a 4-headed rushing attack with Cam Newton now. We got Royce back there, which I like Royce, but I like him in short yardage situations. But Chuba's got that bigger frame. So I would trust Chuba in those situations, when you don't want to run CMC and risk an injury. Realistically, I see a good rushing attack today. On Sunday. I see it. But we got to use these guys smartly. Tommy Tremble hasn't really been used that much. And I'm glad you brought him up. I think if we throw a couple of his way, he'll catch them. But, I would primarily use him for run blocking on Sunday. Because that's what we're going to need to do a lot of. Like I said, what we were doing last week it's a 50-50 rush attack versus pass attack. And it was working. You saw it unbalance Arizona because we were running like a bunch of plays that Cam Newton was running back in the early days during Ron Rivera days. And Arizona was like, where did these plays come from? We weren't running those. Those weren't on tape. Well, that's Cam Newton audibling out of Joe Brady's playbook. I mean, it's simple. So how does Tommy fit into that run blocking? 75% run blocking is where I would put Tommy in this game coming up. This game is going to be 2 elite defenses going up against each other. And I think if we have to deal with Taylor, that's going to add a new dimension to it too. That's, it's going to be Cam versus Taylor, Both of them are going to be running quarterbacks. So this is going to be a real battle, to see which one has the better arm is what it's going to come down to. And that one clearly goes to Cam. I mean, there's no contest. Cam's definitely got the better arm. And he's got the better rushing ability. So, Cam has that 65% edge. I think the Panthers are going to get to the red zone very fast. I agree with that. We got to come out swinging. That's the key. If we come out swinging, throw a couple of jabs in there early in the first quarter, their defense is going to be on their heels. And it's going to keep them on their heels as long as we keep that pressure on them throughout that entire first half. And it'll wear them down towards the third and fourth. Then, that's when we strike. That's when we go all in. If you want to throw a deep ball in the, late in the third, go for it. If you want to, that's when you want to start taking a couple of chances and just see what we could do. Testing out a couple of things with Cam Newton. But first 3 quarters, I wouldn't do it. Mainly because their defense is going to be, able to recover if we make a mistake. So, and like I said, there's a couple of guys that don't have interceptions yet that are due. Watch out for that. And Williams can knock down some passes, so watch out for that too. But otherwise, I see if we come out with that same energy, this game's going to be electric. Absolutely. This is a must-win game. We've got to come out there. We've got to start swinging right away. And we can do that. We have the potential to do that. We've been doing it for the past 2 weeks. So I see it. Our defense with their offense is no match. Tommy Tremble is a great run blocker. You're right. The stadium is going to be rocking. We will be winning this game. Newton is electric. That energy, man, it's undeniable. It's absolutely undeniable. I've got a good feeling about this one, guys. I do. Based on what I've read from just the stats alone, and by what I saw from the Tampa Bay versus Washington game, yeah, I think Washington got lucky a lot during that game. There's a chance, man. There's a really good chance. I'm feeling a 60-40 in our favor. If we play like we did last week, I'm feeling it. Definitely feeling it. So, as far as what the score could be, that depends on Cam Newton. That 100% depends on Cam Newton score-wise. Now, we know what our defense is going to do. Our defense is going to shut them down. That's going to be, because Washington's been struggling on offense. They've got Curtis Samuel hurt. They've got a couple of weapons hurt. Their offensive line is in trouble. So I see maybe 10 to 17 points for Washington's offense. That's slightly below what they've been averaging because of the injuries and because our defense is good. But here's the thing, man. All these teams that have been averaging a certain number, our defense has allowed it to happen. Think about the Cowboys game. They've been averaging 34 points a game. We've allowed it. That many points. You look at hold up. Let me look at our schedule to give you some kind of examples here. Yeah, see, the Cowboys have been averaging about 31 to 34 points. We've allowed 36. There you go. Eagles have been averaging 21. We allowed 21. Vikings have been averaging about 28. We gave up 34 because it was overtime. Falcons have been really struggling. They're trash. Don't even worry about them. Patriots have been averaging about 24. We allowed 24. It was only until this game alone against the Cards, that we finally broke the cycle. and we held Arizona to 10. Now, part of that was because DeAndre Hopkins was not in. Also, the fact that Kyler Murray was not there. We were dealing with Colt McCoy. So there's a lot of variables in that game last week that allowed us to get that 34-10 score. Otherwise, it would have been a titanic battle all 4 quarters. I truly believe that if all the starters were in for both teams, it would be right down to the wire, and we would win. Because I feel like we could, my only problem with that game would have been Sean Chandler trying to handle Kyler Murray on a quarterback spy. It would not have worked. That would have cost us yards. But, and I think, Sean Chandler gives up about 7 points a game, so I don't want him in. So thank God Justin Burris is back. God, we have missed him. I mean, with Sean Chandler, we're talking about like 28 points given up throughout the season, maybe 35. That's a whole game's worth of points. You can't do that. That's what I want at Hartsfield. This ain't gonna cut it. This ain't gonna cut it. This man's gonna cost us points. Sure enough, we put him in the wrong situation, the goal line, and in coverage, the places where he is the most weak in, and he gives up the points. But we got Burris in there, and look what happened. We had Sam Franklin Jr. in there in goal line package on that 4th and goal, and look what happened. That's why I'm so glad to have Justin Burris back. Oh my God, it's a godsend to have this man back. I was so tired of watching that every game. Therefore, once Cam came back with Burris in there, the only weakness we had was the offensive line, and everybody got energized from the top to the bottom. Because we had full depth, we had full energy, we had everything going in our direction in that game. And I think even with the Cardinals starters in, it still would have been a win. I still believe that. Prove me wrong, folks. Prove me wrong. You can't. It doesn't matter. This team was good enough to beat the Cardinals at their best if they had their starters in. That's why I'm not worried about this Washington game. If we bring in that type of energy with these types of players playing the way they are, I see at least 28 points on the board for our offense. If we execute our game plan, 28. That's starting. If you want to push 31, push 31. If you want to push 34, push 34 on them. Do it. I got no problem with that. I'm just saying 28 is our starting bar for this offense. Defensively, we should not allow any more than 17 points. No more than 17. That's the bar. If we allow more than 17, that allows them to come back. And I know our defense is capable of holding them to 17. That's with the injuries that they have. Oh, yeah. They should be able to check that box easily. It's the offense I'm a little, I got a couple question marks there. Can Cam throw accurately in the medium range area? We haven't tested him out in that area yet in a live game this year. We've seen him last year. We've seen that he could probably do it, but we haven't seen him in a Panther uniform with chemistry with our new wide receivers yet. How's he going to handle that? We've seen he can get chemistry with Robbie. We've seen he can get chemistry with with a couple of wide receivers last week. But can he keep it going? I believe so. I believe so. I'm not worried. Like I said, we should have control of this game for a good chunk of it. Now, the key here is do not let off the gas. You remember that was the advice I gave to Ron Rivera back in, what was it, 2018? That's the advice I gave to this team then. We were playing well for a little bit, and I said, do not let off the gas. And what did we do? We did exactly that. The offense choked. So we got to be careful of that. Because that's a defense that will start to take over if we let off the gas. That's a Washington defense that will start to take over. You can't let that happen. Our offensive line has got to hold against backup pass rushers. That's another check mark that's another bridge we gotta cross. Can we do that? I got serious issues with Daly. If he ends up getting holding call on a false start again, I think this man's gone next year. Honestly, I'm done. I'm done with Daly. I love him as a person, but on the field, he better not let a backup Washington pass rusher beat him this Sunday. Or we're going to have a problem. That's all I'm saying, man. I think we got this, man. I think we got this. We just got to hone in. We got to check all these boxes, And I'm going to make a video on this stuff, man. I'm going to tell y'all exactly which boxes we need to cross, and I'm going to put it out today. I ain't going to put it out on Saturday. I'm going to put it out today because I want the management to see this. We're in crunch time. We're in crunch time on this schedule. So every one of these videos that's a pregame video is going to go out either Thursday or Friday to make sure that these guys know, if management is watching, what boxes we need to check to be able to successfully win a game coming up here. From our perspective. From the Keep Pounding crew perspective, you know what I mean? Because y'all are part of this too, man. Every one of y'all is a part of this. Y'all bringing that same energy as I am right now. Y'all realize how crunch time this is. Y'all realize how important setting these goals are. Y'all realize what we're trying to accomplish here. And to me, as a streamer, I'm so proud of y'all, man, for sticking around for a coaster of a ride this season. And y'all have stuck around and held it together. And, I could not be more proud of y'all for sticking around, man. Because I know we're such a fair weather fan base. And to see this group of fans here, that's in this Keep Pounding crew, show everybody, that we're not just sitting here and we're not about to jump off the train when we lose. You know what I'm saying? We're not about to jump off the train the subscriber train or the follower train just because the season's dead. You know, y'all are in it for the long haul. The ones that have stayed, man, my respect to you. Tipping the cap. Because it ain't easy being a Panthers fan. It's not easy. We have been through so much together. So much. And I consider y'all family, man. I really, really do. Every one of y'all are brothers and sisters to me. That's what this fan base means to me, man. Y'all are brothers and sisters to me. Y'all stuck around. And y'all are still here. Y'all are still here, man. Players too, you know. We've been through thick and thin this season, and we're still here. We're still looking at a wild card spot.